Howdy mates, here's a part 4 video and this will be my last one for today. So I'm actually visiting another portion of the Myakka River State Park. We're actually near a place called the Historic Weir. You can't really see it here because it's a little hidden, but a weir actually refers to a low-head dam. So it's basically a man-made alteration to basically water that enters into another body of water. Personally, when it comes to low-head dams, they're actually quite detrimental, especially when it comes to our streams, because they tend to create a lot of turbulence, thus causing our freshwater fish to basically struggle from swimming. But this little section is actually experiencing a habitat restoration, so you can't enter this area because they're basically trying to promote regrowth. But actually way out there in the distance, I actually saw a couple of roseate spoonbills, which was actually a very surprising find. I was not expecting to see them here. Roseate spoonbills have the pink plumage and their beaks are shaped like spoons. Hence, roseate spoonbill. Most birds are named according to their features. But all these plants that are surrounding me, a lot of this is actually known as thistle. They are indeed a native plant of Florida, and they do attract a variety of pollinators, especially when it comes to our honeybees. But they call it thistle because if you look real closely, there's a bunch of needles. So some of you may consider them weeds, but the thing is, a weed is just simply a plant that we don't desire. You can't necessarily designate a plant as weed, and no pun intended either, because, you know, the term weed is used quite frequently in different contexts. But hold on just a second, you guys. I want to show you another particular wildflower that is actually highly found here. Give me a second. Okay, here we are. We're finally entering into the section where we can find it. Alrighty, so we see these guys right here. Aren't they pretty or what? Now, these are known as Tickseed. So that's the name that I've known it by. It goes by a couple of different names, but it falls under the genus of Coreopsis. And since it's a Coreopsis, it falls within the family of Asters. But what's particularly neat about the Tickseed is, instead of seeing the common 5 petals that you see, sometimes what happens is instead you will find that there are maybe only up to 4 bundles, if not more, maybe even 6, because usually with an aster you'll only see 5. And a fascinating thing is, since it is an aster, even though it has a unique characteristic for an aster, they actually have a relation to their long distant cousins, sunflowers. So it's funny, it's like walking through here, it reminds me a little bit of Yellow Springs back up in Ohio. For those of you who have never heard of Yellow Springs in Ohio, if you ever visit the state, you gotta visit that town. Many people consider it like a hippie town, but I disagree with that. Yellow Springs is a town that brings together many different cultures, and a lot of them actually tend to get along with each other. So it's a very unique community, very creative and environmentally conscious. It's actually near where I went to college. I was about like 15 minutes away, so it was was a dope time. But the tickseed is so named because when you actually look towards the center, like right here, it resembles a tick. And that's actually how it really got its name. You know, when I say tick, I mean like the deer tick, for example. It's roughly the same size and perhaps even a similar texture too. But it's that part of the flower that allows the reproduction. Those are essentially the seeds. As you can tell, they tend to grow in colonies. They're very, very abundant. And the best news is they're a native wildflower. So by no means are they invasive. And this is like honestly one of the most perfect times to see them in bloom too. But another fascinating aspect of this tickseed is it's actually the state wildflower of Florida. So, in a sense, it actually represents the state of Florida. I'm guessing it was chosen to be the state wildflower just because of its sheer abundance. But you can definitely see just how extended it is. And actually, there's a little stretch of road too that you can drive along here where as you get into, you know, like the month of May, you'll see it in a huge field. I don't know, it's like when you really respect what the wildflowers provide, you really start to feel that sense of connection to what nature provides. You know, were it not for these flowers, our food source would be completely scarce. And we would not have our pollinators, you know, whether it be the insects, butterflies, and even bats and birds too. Specifically hummingbirds, really. So, really the point is, having these wildflowers is actually very crucial because it acts as one big pollinator garden. And since it's a state park, none of this land can be altered in any way whatsoever. I forgot to say, it reminded me of Yellow Springs because, forgive me, I forgot. It reminded me of Yellow Springs because there's a field that is owned by the Tecumseh Land Trust, in which every time it approaches into the fall, they have a field of sunflowers. And so, since they're a similar color, similar structure, they couldn't help but remind me of the sunflower field. So, forgive me if I went all over the place, but a lot of these videos that I do are unscripted. They're just speaking from the heart. So, alright you guys, take care, enjoy your Sunday, and I may even post an article in the description so you can read more about the plant. Alright you guys, take care, and Journey on a Journey is once again outwards. Take care folks. See ya.